Hello everyone, episode 31, meaning we have only one episode left after this one, and it's kind of weird going from Chiefs to Panthers, like from the Super Bowl winning team to the team that should have held number one pick, or like was the worst team in NFL last season. And it's like, I was thinking maybe the order in which I'm doing this, maybe it's wrong order, but then it's like, well, how often will it happen that the worst team in NFL won't own their first pick? Like, history was made, Panthers were historically bad in a way that, they should have had number one pick and they kind of don't. So as for last season, I think everyone in the organization just want to forget it. Like, they wanted to be this big, strong Panther out there, and overall they were kitten that was being played around with, tried to, make a noise, but more often than not, they were just smacked down by bigger and better teams. With that being said, I really liked what they did in their offseason towards what this team needs to know about their identity and about their future. Though I'm not going to pretend like last year's disappointment, results and everything is not a huge drawback for this team. So let's check out how they did in the draft. And we start with Xavier Legette, whom they drafted up to get him as the 32nd pick. So this kind of allows them to have a 50-year option on him. I kind of sneakily like this move overall. I'm not necessarily certain I love Xavier Legette as a prospect here. I think he's fine, but to me, he's a bit of a reach. I had him more mid-second round. Other than that, I understand he one weapon. He probably fits this offense quite nice, but still a bit of a reach. So it's fine pick. It's slightly below my, okay, I'm really good with this pick. Then you go for Jonathan Brooks, which is a part of the compensation that you've got from Giants for Brian Burns. And I like this player, but too soon for running back, in my opinion. That is not special. It's not Bijan, it's not Jahmyr Gibbs in last seasons. And well, let's face it. You kind of have the situation with your running back room that it's not like it's a huge strength of your team, but Chuba Hubbard is decent number one option, and you've paid Miles Sanders a lot, so it feels kind of weird that you are kind of heavily investing in this room given the investment you've made, especially last season in terms of Miles Sanders, but as expected, he was bad. So I don't understand. You kind of want to get out of that contract as soon as you can, which let me check out when they can really get out of it. 1 second, guys. Here we are, Miles Sanders. So yeah, 8 million this season. Okay. Great. Yeah, they can get out of it after the season. It's also Chuba Hubbard has only 1 year left on his rookie deal, so whether it's we don't want to pay Chuba, whether it's we want to get rid of Miles, or it could be both. I like the fit here for seasons to come. As of right now, he is probably already better than Miles Sanders, which says a lot about what an absolute flop you've made with his signing for 3 years, 24 million. What the fuck are you thinking? But I'm I feel like there were players on the board that you could have get that help this team and what they want to be, which is we want to find out if Bryce Young is the guy, better than Jonathan Brooks year one. Year two and going forward, I absolutely get this. But yeah, let's just check who was there. Adonai Mitchell was still on the board. I mean, Zach Frazier to solidify that offensive line. It's mostly Adonai Mitchell. Let's be honest. I do not say as other weapon that I'm super happy to take here. It's not there were not other interesting players for other positions, or especially defensively, that were still on the board that I would be really happy to bring here. But for offense, it was pretty much Adonai Mitchell. I would take him over Jonathan Brooks here because I feel like he would fill a bigger need than Jonathan Brooks does. That's like kind of my only criticism, that you should be focusing on figuring out Bryce Young as soon as you can. And Jonathan Brooks, I don't think necessarily fits that plan year one perfectly. That's the only criticism. I feel like this is a good pick overall. Yet, like, it leaves a bit to be desired in my opinion. And Trevin Wallace, I like this pick quite a lot, as you can see with an A. I think with those first two picks and the offseason, it seems like they've invested enough. Like for sure, they've invested enough that Bryce Young should not have like excuses. Like if it doesn't work for him this year, it's probably really, really bad. But they've done enough to support that side of the ball, and now let's bring something to defense. And usually I like third down is as early as I would go for linebacker. But I think for Trevin Wallace here, the situation is like it kind of doesn't matter the results, and I think that's a great opportunity to put him out there with Elijah Evero and show us, because like if you suck, we kind of don't care. We are looking for your upside in year 2, year 3, year 4. So I like that because of the situation in which Black Panthers are. If this was another team, like team in their Superbowl window, yeah, I would feel that this pick is just B or even B minus, because like it would not be reach. Like this is where I expected him to go, but I would feel like you are not optimizing your window because you are getting a player that should not be a contributor year 1. But here he doesn't have to be, but he can be out there because results kind of don't matter, and he can get some reps behind him. So I really like this pick. Jatavian Sanders, it's like, why the hell not? Like he should not be on the board. Absolutely love this. Easily the biggest upside of tight end that they have on the roster. Guy that can kind of grow up with Bryce Young. Yeah, like you could be done at the point of like third round, spending picks for the offense. But when Jatavian Sanders is just sitting there, like late second round talent, and he is still on the board with early fourth round, I'm like, yeah, you freaking take that. And with the rest, Sean White-Smith, I feel like there were still some more interesting corners on the board at that point. It's like, why? Feels like a bit of a reach, and quite frankly, it was 157. So then you have, where do we have guys? I mean, why don't you pick DJ James? Like, I think he's a better prospect. Still on the board. So, if you want to invest in the cornerback room, I like it, but I just don't necessarily agree with the pick. For the rest, Jaden Cromedy and Michael Barrett, I really have nothing interesting to say. So the draft was so and so. Like, it felt good, but nothing special. I would put it this way, like somewhere midway. Should not hold them back, but should not elevate them necessarily. Even though they were missing their first round pick, I think they could have done more with this draft. Now let's shift our focus to offense. And Dave Canales, he comes here as a guy that I have probably ranked, like, I don't say way too low, but I'm almost questioning myself why there is a minus here, because he is quite a good offensive mind. But like when I say like first time play callers, cannot get really great grade because I have not seen them. And for Dave Canales, like he's been play caller, right? But now he has to work it with being a head coach. So with that, there's probably where the minus comes from, because now you have to split your focus in a way. So can he do that? If so, really great hire. If not, well, it just should be a sound hire. Why they brought him and why this makes really a ton of sense. It's easy. Like, he helped resurrect Geno Smith's career, he helped resurrect Baker Mayfield, and they kind of expect, well, you've done it with, let's say, less talented QBs. Let's just do it with Bryce Young. And the thing is, it's a bit of different because for both Geno and Baker, at the point of them interfering or like meeting with Dave Canales and really having a nice step up in their career under him or under his guidance in Seahawks with Shane Waldron, it's like they were already experienced QBs. They kind of lived through it, seen a lot. And Bryce is obviously different. Like, he only has 1 year under his belt. And like, let's just move towards talk about Bryce Young at this point, because it's kind of really, the idea I think is, yeah, Dave Canales is a good offensive mind and he should be a specialist towards a QB, right? So yeah, we've invested heavily in Bryce. It was his poor first year. We need to get him on right track and he should be the guy to do it. When I said like it's different, yeah, this is just a 1 year experience. It's not like he's going to work with an experienced QB that doesn't necessarily is not a veteran, but have like 5, 6, 7 seasons in NFL. So with Bryce, it's just one, but I still think it should work. And the most critical thing that we need to, I think, address with Bryce Young is it's not about his ability in terms of physical as like it's not about him being short. That doesn't stop him. That was not like a major issue. Like year one, that was like overblown out of proportion. Like he's too young, you just not too young. He's Bryce Young, not too young. He's too short. That's going to be a problem. Like it is slight of a problem, but he can work around it. I think the biggest concern from year one is, can he mentally reset from that year? Can he do what Trevor Lawrence did with the Jags? And it's like, well, I was put into a shitty situation. That situation got way more shittier than we've ever expected, with O-line being an absolute trash from perhaps like before the season we thought that it will be average O-line. Our head coach was like really running it down and Frank Reich, and there was just no weaponry to separate or pretty much to do anything. So can he recover from that? Can he start to trust his offensive line again? And more than that, like, this is a guy that he was drafted first overall, right? What that means is, before he entered NFL last year, it was winning, being the best, absolutely dominating, winning, being the best. That's what his career is. That's what he's used to. And suddenly, he was the worst. Like, he was among the worst rated QBs. He was on the worst team. There was a lot of kind of hate towards him, like people turning on him. And of course, like things that he was able to do, suddenly he couldn't. And the ability to just, shower it from your mind, like, yeah, let's reset that. Like, it was shitty year, fuck that. Let's kind of treat like his first year. If he can do this, I think there is still a great enough chance that during his rookie contract he will become a top 10 QB in the league. I definitely am confident with that. But that's a big if, because there are several quarterbacks that were not able to do it, that just were struck down by the waterfalls that these first years, and it kind of destroyed their confidence. So that's why bringing Dave Canales and overall what they've done for the offense, I think it's a really good step towards the future. But it's not like instant success, and Bryce Young does come as one of the worst QBs as of right now. So with that being said, Andy Dalton is really nice backup, a guy that you should not hope that he starts, but he and Dave Canales should be really here to develop Bryce Young in a way. I think Andy Dalton is proving to be really nice backup, really nice locker room guy, and a veteran presence that you are absolutely happy with. And if he needs to step in for a game or two, you are okay with that. He's not bad. But let's check what they have to work with in terms of running backs. As already thought, like Chuba Hubbard is kind of good enough, number one. Like, it's not special. I mean, his yards last year they do not look very well, but compare them to Miles Sanders, it's still 0.5 more rushing yards per carry, which is pretty big difference. And for both of them, the numbers are like hugely deflated with, well, passing offense was not able to move the ball very much, and our line absolutely sucked, so good luck rushing behind that. So Chuba is good enough. Jonathan Brooks and Miles Sanders, I think, are going to fight for number 2 spot. As of right now, I think they have Miles listed as the number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check on that. No, they are okay. So they actually have listed Miles as their number 2 and Jonathan Brooks as number 4, but that's mainly because Jonathan Brooks is out for injury, and there's also some question marks about Miles Sanders' health situation. So, you know, for better or worse, they will enter the league with their best running back, and their backups are not necessarily out there. So really, as I described it, like, this is not a great room, you know, one of the worst starting running back. There's nice enough like depth in a way, like as of your number 2 guys, it's like good enough, and Bryce that doesn't give you that much, so that's really not the rushing game that you are afraid of. And it's not like you are afraid of passing game either, though it's still much better, or should be in theory much better than what it was last season. And it starts with them really going and trying to get legit number 1 weapon for Bryce Young. Well, Deontay Johnson, like, you ideally have him as your number 2, as a number 1, like, alright, it's one of the worst, but still he's like by far their best wide receiver on the roster. Like, you know, like by far I have him, you know, by 2 tiers over Adam Thielen. I think with Adam it's like close to a good starter. So yeah, okay, it just might be like 1.25 of a tier between him and Deontay Johnson. But yeah, ideally, Adam Thielen is your number 3, Deontay is your number 2, and you have a number 1. They just really have the order without the number 1, but still they at least have the order with Deontay Johnson. Like last year it was, well, Adam Thielen is our best wide receiver. Work with that. Good freaking luck. Next to them, they should be starting Xavier Legette. Let me check on that. No, they actually have Jonathan Mingo as a starter right now, which is slightly weird, though we will see how the split is going to work. It's slightly worrying in terms of, well, perhaps Legette did not show enough in camp and preseason, or it could be, well, Mingo showed enough. We'll see. Overall, like, really kind of not great group of wide receivers, but a huge improvement from last season with Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, and suddenly Mingo, Marshall, and let's say Legette are legit fighting for number 3. They also brought David Moore here from Tampa. He's obviously very well connected with Dave Canales. He doesn't necessarily elevate this room, but he is also another piece that can be used, like good backup in this room. So they are actually like nicely deep, as well as they have like one truly talented piece in Deontay Johnson, really nice safety blanket in Adam Thielen, and some potential with Jonathan Mingo and Xavier Legette. So they are miles away from what they were last season. With tight ends, I already said that I like Jatavian Sanders' pick. Like, is he their best tight end as of right now? Well, probably not, but the bad thing is he's really close. And like, when I look at Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas, and I obviously realized that I have not changed the picture for, I think it's Ian Thomas, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is not Ian Thomas. Sorry, Ian. Apologize. It's like I said, sometimes with stats, sometimes with the pictures, I just we're doing over thousands of them. Sometimes I just forget. Sorry for that. So this is not Ian Thomas, this is Tommy Tremble on both pictures. But let's go back towards the Zoom, and I'm like, well, both Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas have question marks next to their name in terms of will they be able to start week 1. And I'm like, let's just put Jatavian Sanders out there, like, why not? he's almost as good as these guys, if not slightly better, as of right now. This is really comically bad tight end, like easily the worst in the league. Like maybe Commanders, you could say, is like on the same level, which means really bad. So yeah, let's just hope that Ja'Tavion Sanders shows his upside and can emerge as like a good starter even year one, because Bryce Young kind of needs that. Like one area that they did not invest in like heavily is the tight end. And their biggest investment is Ja'Tavion Sanders, and I'm like, yeah, let's just show me what you got. But now we go towards offensive line, and this is a group that last year was absolutely atrocious. Part of that was injuries, part of that was some players did not play up to the standards that we expected to do. I'm looking at you, Ikem. And it's just absolutely massively upgraded towards this season. And you can see it on my grades. Like, I actually ranked this offensive line as a B, which, like, from worst O-line last season based on results, that's insane. And it starts with tackles that I'm like, well, Tyler Moton, even last year, he was absolute rock solid, really plus on your side, easily top 10 right tackle in the league. If I would have to put him in exact what spot, it would probably be like 7th best right tackle in the league. Ikem, still, I mean, you hoped for a better second year for him, but I think he still looked good given the circumstances. Like, some people were like, well, it was really a bad year for Ikem. I'm like, really? Really? I mean, like, it was not like transcending. He didn't make a leap to be, top tackle in the league or like top 10 tackle in the league, which like you hope that he can eventually reach that upside with, like he was like 6th pick 2 years ago. But I mean, still it was good. And when you consider like what he had to work with next to him, like, I take this. So I'm definitely like, I actually improved his grade. Like, to me, he was like between decent starter and good starter before last season, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen enough to move him to good starter. So I was a bit surprised when I read, like, I do understand that people wanted more, but I still saw quite a lot given the circumstances. And with Josh Diamond, you are getting one of the better backups for tackle positions in league. So this is definitely a group you're happy with, and it comes to interior, and it kind of continues there because Robert Hunt, their huge signing, is start of a guard. He's a really great player. They know why they're paying for him. He probably is what he is. I do not expect him to like move towards amazing starter, but yeah, like top 10 right guard in the league, yeah, that's Robert Hunt. And with Damian Lewis, he's kind of an average left guard in the league. Again, guy that's maxed out, you know what you are getting in from him, and that's like good enough play that you are happy with that. And with Austin Corbett, okay, this might be like one of the question marks for this offensive line. It's like he moves to center, can he handle that? I think he can. And I do expect him to really be good. And probably he's your weakest link, and he's definitely like the closest guy I have to demote to decent starter for this O-line. But with that being said, like, it feels like O-line that doesn't have issues, that's really good across the board, that has quite exceptional right side with Robert Hunt and Tyler Moton, and it's quite deep with Josh Neiman, Brady Christensen. Like, those are two players that if they need to step in, you are not worried about them. It's easier that, well, Chandler Zavala, I kind of, I'm doing him dirty just putting him here because his pass blocking 7.1 on about 200 snaps he had with as a pass blocker was just insanely bad. I'm sorry, Chandler, that I'm bringing that up. It was, it was historically bad. So I'm sorry. I just needed to point it out for the sake of like how much of an improvement it is that, instead of Chandler Zavala almost 400 snaps, you should get like Robert Hunt 800 snaps. It's pretty huge improvement. And like, it's not against Chandler. He definitely should have not been in a situation that he is a starter last year. Like, he is a developmental prospect that, 2 years from now, he might emerge as a rotational piece for the interior and perhaps even a low-key starter. But that's not what should be a situation with him year one, and it had to be so. good freaking luck, and he just didn't really have it, and with him the rest of the O-line. Now we move towards defense. We start with Ejiro Evero. Sorry. Ejiro Evero. Very good defensive coach. I do expect some brighter things for him, even in terms of my gradings, but I think B is justified as of right now. He's like really good. He's not special as of right now. And they kind of need him to be good to almost special to lift the talent that is not necessarily here not anymore. Like, it still has some pieces that are quite nice. You can see in my rankings, like, I'm actually not like super pissed about this defense, especially in terms of run defense. But they've lost some pieces and tried to like convert them into offensive help. So let's check their D-line and linebackers. It starts with really great signing, I think, in Jadeveon Clowney, who, yeah, he's not a game record that he entered the league to be, not the number one, reaching to his full upside. But for what it's worth, I think he like still loves football. He just loves to be out there, loves to play, and he kind of is not looking like he's mentally boomed from not being able to reach that full potential that everybody like thought that he could be, like Myles Garrett and these guys. Like, he should be on their level based on the traits and everything, but injuries kind of stopped him, and it just didn't take love for the football from him, in my opinion. And it kind of shows that like he could say, like, well, fuck it, I just want to pass rush. No, he absolutely enjoys run defense. He's one of the better run defending edge in the league. So that's a big plus for me. And like, really nice signing. I mean, yeah, ideally he's your number 2, but if he's your number 1, you are not like super stunned about it, especially in a year when it's pretty much all about figuring out what we have in terms of offense. DJ Wonnum, he's what he is, which is number 3 guy that is going to be forced once again to play as a number 2. That's a problem. So the edge group is not really something to write home about, but it's probably similar to what they had last season. Though, like, Brian Burns, kind of he is better pass rusher than Jadeveon Clowney, but worse run defender, and the rest of the pieces, like, yeah, it's kind of a push for the quality. So yeah, in terms of edge, it's not a great group, but it's all kind of being saved with Derrick Brown, because if there is a superstar that kind of nobody talks about, it's Derrick Brown. Look at that guy. he is just freaking insane. He's absolutely freaking insane, especially in terms of run defense. Like, I just cannot imagine how last year, I'm not sure if he could like practice with the O-line that Panthers had last season, because like he would be decimating that interior like every snap. I'm sure, like, even if they double teamed him, I think on the practice, the quality would just be like Derrick Brown can handle the double team and create a push. He is that good, and that interior was that bad last year. So Derrick Brown is an absolutely exceptional piece. I have him as an elite starter, which is like higher than some view him, but I think it's totally deserved. So he is the main reason for the run defense here being really, really exceptional, with Jadeveon Clowney being one of the best edge run defenders. Next to him, you have Shai Tuttle, you have Ashawn Robinson. They are like really close, despite I have a tier between them. It's like, I won't be surprised if pretty much in week 3 we have flipped grades. One moves up, one moves down, one moves up, the other stays, or one moves down. So yeah, they are, Shai Tuttle moves down and Ashawn Robinson moves up. Like, they are what they are. It's like, really depends week to week whether it's good backup or decent starter. When I like put their rankings and like how I viewed them last year together, yeah, I thought Shai Tuttle deserves more than the decent starter status for me, but kind of very similar in terms of quality, even in terms of what they can do. It's like Shai Tuttle is definitely a better. Like, yeah, they are really similar. Like, they are both better in terms of run defense. They just won't give you anything in terms of pass rush, pretty much. So that's where, the pass rush here is kind of meh. It's like Jadeveon Clowney and Derrick Brown, and then it's like nothing after that. Like DJ Wonnum, Shai Tuttle, Ashawn Robinson, they don't give you that much. So that's why it's a D minus for me, because both like for Jalen and Derek Brown, they are like good to slightly impactful pass rushers, but that's enough. That's just it, like. And now we move towards linebackers room, and this is one of the rooms that actually slightly, I think, elevates this team. It all depends whether Shaq Thompson is still important starter, which is what I had on him last year, and he played 6 to 8 snaps. So I didn't move him down, but it's definitely something that you have to monitor whether after injury he will be still this impactful player. If so, great, and my grades definitely stick. If not, suddenly this could be just the linebacker room. And when I said like I liked Trevin Wallace, for the fact that he could come in and play year one, I'm like, well, but they kind of have their starting linebackers do. So in a way, if Shaq Thompson gets injured again, which unfortunately, it could be a possibility. It could be, in a way, blessing in disguise, because Trevin Wallace would get on the field. Like, he would look bad. It would be much worse than with Shaq Thompson. But do you really care? Like, I think if you, in a way, like if I have to choose, I win 4 games or I win 5 games, and I play Trevin Wallace over Shaq Thompson the whole season. Like, obviously, I'm not doing it Shaq Thompson dirty, and if he's healthy, he's playing. Like, let's face it. But I get probably like 2. From 5th pick, I moved to 3rd pick because of this 1 win, and I give Trevin Wallace a year of experience. Like in terms of long term, it's probably better, right? Like, yeah, it can break the team, break the mentality and everything, and you just don't want to suck. I understand all of that, but I really like the thinking here. Like, if Shaq Thompson is healthy next to Josie Jewell, they are a plus for this defense. If he's not, let's just put Trevin Wallace out there and see if he can go with trial by fire. So quite a nice conceptualized room, in my opinion, for now and for the future as well. Now we move towards secondary, and we start with safeties. Jordan Fuller, I think, is a good signing. Really, another guy that's like really close to a good starter in my books. I just could flip a coin with him, whether I say good starter or decent starter. I just put him as decent as of right now, but really, if he kind of is what he was last year, with this system, with the new team, I think I'm going to move him up to good starter, like week 3. Xavier Woods, kind of a similar story, good starter, not necessarily a guy that you want to be dependent on, but neither of these two guys should be a problem. The thing is, you kind of don't have much behind those guys. They currently have, I think, Nick Scott listed as a primary backup, which is like, well, he played a lot, and he was a problem a lot. So you cross your fingers and hope that either Jordan Fuller nor Xavier Woods go down, because if they do, suddenly from C safety group, which is like middle of the road and quite like nice room, suddenly it's problematic room. And now we go for corners, and you might say like, why is this worse room than safeties? Why do you give them D+? Because you have a guy that's highest strength for the secondary in JC Horn. I'm like, yes, but with JC Horn, I just have to count for injuries. Like, on average, you are getting 8 games out of him. And it just, like, I'm not putting it in his grade, because this is a grade of like how I view him in terms of his quality, but it kind of is in the ranking of the group. That, you are most likely not getting a full season from JC Horn. And when he goes down, like, this is a problem, man. If they have... As of right now, Dane Jackson is on IR. They traded for or got Michael Jackson from Seahawks to be their starter opposite to JC Horn, which is like, I mean, with Dane Jackson you were okay-ish. With Michael Jackson it's like, I am not really sure that I'm okay with that. So like, he is a good backup that is going to be a starter next to JC Horn, and like, if JC Horn goes down, like, this is worst cornerback room in the league. Troy Hill is a decent starter, but he is a slot, and it's not like he's a great slot. Like he has closer to good backup than to good starter as a slot. So, like like week 1 you are going there with JC Horn, Troy Hill, and Michael Jackson. You are okay-ish. If there was Dan Jackson, who unfortunately, like, these rankings were made before like the injuries popped up. So these rankings are definitely not as of right now, right? Because as of right now, I would have to knock definitely another like grade from them and just make them a D, because, well, 50% of JC Horn, Michael Jackson, Troy Hill, and I mean Sean Smith-White is your fourth best option here. That's bad group, man. Like, let's just hope that JC Horn will stay healthy, because when he plays, this dude is a number 1 that you are absolutely okay with, and like still he can develop, right? It's, like we've never seen him to like play, I don't know, 12 games like with a full stretch. And like if that happens one time, if he can overcome those problems, they can get legit number 1 corner in the league, that he can shut down Drake London, he can shut down Chris Goodwin, he can shut down Chris Olave. Like he has that type of quality, but he needs to stay healthy for that, and for him to being able to show us in bigger stretch of the time. So that's roster breakdown for the Panthers, and now let's talk about how they are scheduled in my road to Super Bowl. Well, obviously it's not a great conversation. Like when you are the worst team in the league and you don't even have the number 1 pick, it's like hard to assume that you will really go to Super Bowl in next couple of seasons. I would say there are teams that are worse than the Panthers. I really like their offseason. I think Dave Canales is a good hire, and if they can keep Elijah Everall here for a while next to Dave Canales, they could really develop quite nice coaching room staff. It obviously hugely depends on what will be Bryce Young post this season, like during the season. Can they resurrect him? And if so, maybe year 4 for Bryce Young, it could be that Panthers are contenders. But it's like a huge if. So they would be probably like 29 or 30 on my ranking, least likely teams to win Super Bowl in the next 3 years. I think in next 5 it would be probably higher, because in theory they do have their franchise guy, and like 40% of the time they have their franchise guy, so that's good. But the immediate future is not like super hopeful. But the great thing is, like, it's much better than you've kind of expected, like after the season, because the season was really good with hires, with signings, even with draft. Like it was not special, but it was really good. So for better or worse, they've done a good job. And now let's talk about the upside and kind of the floor for this team. In terms of floor, I think it's 4 wins. Division got better with Kirk Cousins arriving here. Tampa is not worse than they were last season, and Saints are kind of still the same. So, even though it's still the worst division in football, in my opinion, it's not like Panthers are like much better than either of these teams. Like I think at best they are on a similar level to Saints. So yeah, my floor is 4 wins. And like that's, if Bryce is what he was last year, that's probably like a 4-win team. The upside, I think, is 8. I do not see them going over 500, even with this division. It's just there is still so many holes, whether we talk about secondary, like anybody goes down and it's going to be a huge problem. Like JC Horn, Jordan Fuller, or Xavier would go down, and like that secondary could like really flop. The pass rush is kind of like, I would not say non-existent, but you can definitely prepare for it. And you still don't know what like Bryce Young is, and it's not like you have Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson next to him that, you are kind of certain that no matter the QB, they will elevate him. So yeah, I think if things go quite well, this is a 8-win team, which would be really refreshing. I mean, they probably won't be fighting to win the division. It shouldn't be like so bad that 8-win would be in a fight, but they could end up second. I can see that happening. And for what it's worth, like this season is really not about that. Like I think it's really about yeah, we gave Bryce, from zero chance, we kind of gave him great enough chance to be a successful QB, show us that you can do it, and we will continue to build around you. So that's your Panthers. Let me know down in the comments whether you agree or disagree, and get prepared because NFL Countdown is counting. Ravens and Chiefs are getting ready, and let's hope this is going to be a super fun game. And I think you will actually get even the 30-second episode with the Cleveland Browns just before the game opens and the season opener is started. Thank you very much for listening. See you with the next one. Bye.